My name is Stella, and I'm 27 years old. For most of my life, I believed that happiness was something you could achieve, something you could find once you had the right job, the right relationship, or the perfect lifestyle. But despite all my efforts, I never quite felt fulfilled. I spent years searching, chasing after fleeting moments of joy, but it always felt like something was missing. Today, I'm going to share with you the secret to finding true happiness, a secret that changed my life forever. So, let's begin this journey together. I grew up in a modest but loving family. We didn't have much money, but we had everything that mattered: love and support. My parents taught me the value of hard work and kindness. Yet, even as a child, I felt that happiness came from something more. I looked at friends with the latest toys and gadgets and wondered if happiness was something you could buy, something tied to possessions. As I got older, I tied happiness more to external things: the right clothes, the perfect phone, or being popular. I worked hard to fit in, but no matter how many things I acquired, happiness always felt out of reach. After college, I moved to a new city, hoping a fresh start would bring the happiness I'd been chasing. I immersed myself in what society said would bring joy: traveling, partying, and shopping. For a while, the excitement was real, but once the thrill faded, I was left feeling empty, despite having everything I thought would make me happy. I checked all the boxes: a good job, incredible trips, and a social media feed full of my perfect life. But something felt off. No matter how many parties I attended or clothes I bought, I felt an emptiness inside. These material pursuits gave temporary satisfaction, but never lasting fulfillment. I was stuck in a cycle that couldn't bring true happiness. The turning point came during a particularly hollow experience. I had just returned from a dream vacation, only to feel more alone than ever. The beautiful photos and Instagram posts couldn't hide the emptiness I felt inside. That's when it hit me. I had been searching for happiness in all the wrong places. It wasn't about where I went or what I owned. I needed to start looking within. This realization made me question everything I had believed about happiness up until that point. One day, while attending a yoga retreat in the mountains, I met Claire. She was an older woman, calm and collected, with a presence that radiated peace. Unlike most people I knew, she wasn't obsessed with material things or social status. There was something magnetic about her contentment. Over tea one evening, I shared my struggles with her, hoping for a quick fix, but Claire simply smiled and said, "True happiness doesn't come from what you have. It comes from who you are and how you choose to see yourself." Her words stopped me in my tracks. Claire introduced me to the concept of self-acceptance, encouraging me to embrace my flaws rather than constantly trying to perfect them. She spoke about mindfulness, being fully present in each moment, without distractions or judgment. Most importantly, she taught me about emotional awareness, understanding my feelings instead of suppressing them. For the first time, I felt a shift in my thinking. It wasn't about changing my life externally. It was about changing how I viewed myself and my world. Claire's wisdom made me realize that the happiness I was searching for wasn't out there. It was within me all along. After Claire's advice, I began incorporating mindfulness into my daily life. Meditation was hard at first. My mind was always racing, and sitting still felt uncomfortable, but I stuck with it. I also started journaling, reflecting on my thoughts and emotions. It was difficult to slow down and be present, but gradually I began to notice subtle shifts. I became more aware of my feelings and less reactive. It wasn't an overnight transformation, but after months of consistent practice, I could feel myself becoming more grounded, more connected to the present moment. As I delved deeper into mindfulness, I also started working on self-acceptance. I realized I had spent years criticizing myself, always striving for perfection in my appearance, career, and relationships. I was so focused on my flaws that I couldn't see my strengths. Learning to practice self-compassion was a game changer. I accepted my imperfections and embraced them as part of who I am. Slowly, I started to let go of the constant pressure to be perfect and began to feel more comfortable in my own skin. I realized that true happiness wasn't about changing myself, but about loving myself as I am. One of the most powerful tools Claire introduced me to was gratitude. I started keeping a gratitude journal, writing down at least 3 things I was thankful for each day. At first, it was hard to find meaningful things to write, but soon I found myself appreciating the little moments: the warmth of the sun on my face, a kind word from a friend, a peaceful walk in the park. This simple practice shifted my perspective. Instead of focusing on what I didn't have, I began to recognize the abundance in my life. Gratitude helped me find joy in the everyday, and it made life feel fuller and more meaningful. Not long after I began practicing mindfulness, life threw me a curveball. I lost my job. At first, I was devastated. It felt like all my hard work had been undone in an instant. But instead of falling into despair, I remembered what Claire had taught me. Challenges are not roadblocks, but opportunities for growth. I chose to see this as a chance to reassess my goals, to explore new opportunities, and to find work that aligned more with my values. This shift in mindset allowed me to stay optimistic, knowing that this setback was just a part of my journey toward a more fulfilling life. Through this experience, I learned that true happiness isn't about avoiding hardships. It's about how we respond to them. Life will always have challenges, and sometimes it feels overwhelming. But instead of feeling defeated, I began to embrace these moments as opportunities to grow stronger and wiser. I realized that resilience isn't about bouncing back immediately, but about allowing yourself the space to learn and adapt. Each setback became a stepping stone, a lesson in patience, perseverance, and self-belief. I discovered that happiness comes not from a perfect life, but from the strength we gain through overcoming adversity. As I grew more comfortable with myself, my relationships began to change. I stopped seeking validation from others, no longer measuring my worth based on what others thought of me. I learned to set boundaries, which was difficult at first, but necessary for my well-being. I stopped people-pleasing and focused on cultivating authentic connections with those who truly valued me. My relationships became more meaningful, built on mutual respect and understanding, rather than the need for approval. As I continued my journey of growth, I found myself naturally sharing what I had learned with friends and family. I began offering guidance on self-love, mindfulness, and the importance of inner peace. I realized how crucial it was to help others find happiness within themselves, just as Claire had done for me. Becoming a mentor gave me a sense of purpose, and I understood that part of living authentically was also helping others along their own paths toward happiness. Today, I feel a sense of inner peace and fulfillment that I never thought possible. Life still brings its challenges, but I've learned how to face them with a calm, steady mind. I no longer look for happiness in external circumstances or material things. Instead, I focus on cultivating peace within myself. I've realized that happiness isn't something to chase. It's something that comes from within, through acceptance, mindfulness, and self-love. Looking back on my journey, I now understand the secret to true happiness. It's not a destination you reach or a goal you achieve. True happiness is a practice. It's rooted in self-acceptance, gratitude, and mindfulness. It's about embracing who you are, appreciating the present moment, and being kind to yourself. Happiness is a process, not a perfect endpoint, and it's something that continues to grow the more you nurture it within yourself. If you found this story helpful, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe for more content on happiness and personal growth.